I'm sitting at a rare family dinner, the kind where everyone's supposed to laugh and catch up. My dad, fork midair, casually asks if the $1,500 he's been sending me every month is covering my bills. I freeze, my stomach twisting. What $1,500? I ask. His face goes pale, like he's seen a ghost. That's when the truth spills out. For months, my mom's been keeping my money and sending it to my brother, who's been living it up in London while I've been scraping by, working myself into the ground. I'm Ethan, 20 years old, a computer science major in Seattle, and this is the story of how one dinner unraveled my family's biggest secret. I grew up in Atlanta, where my dad's a software engineer at a big tech firm and my mom manages our household. 4 months ago, I moved to Seattle for college, chasing my dream of working in AI, inspired by my dad's late-night coding stories. My parents cover my tuition, but I'm on my own for everything else: rent, food, textbooks. Seattle's not cheap, so I juggle 3 jobs: coding freelance gigs, delivering food on weekends, and tutoring high schoolers in math. It's brutal. Most nights, I'm up past midnight debugging code or biking through rain to deliver pizza. My grades are slipping, and I'm too exhausted to join the coding club I'd been excited about. I barely have time for friends, let alone fun. Growing up, I always felt a little overshadowed by my older brother, Caleb, who's 22 and studying music production in London. My mom called him her star, the one destined for greatness. I love Caleb, but the difference in how we were treated was obvious. When I was 11, I won a regional coding competition, and Mom said, "That's nice, Ethan, keep it up." That same week, Caleb got a C in history, and Mom threw him a pizza party for trying his best. Dad always seemed uneasy about it but never pushed back. He was always at work, leaving Mom to handle the money and us kids. By October, I was drowning. My midterm grades were shaky, and I was living off cheap ramen and expired yogurt from the discount bin. I called Mom, practically begging for a little help, just $200 to cover groceries. She sighed and said they were stretched thin with my tuition and Caleb's study abroad costs. "We can't spare anything, Ethan," she said. I felt trapped. My classmates were going to hackathons or grabbing coffee together, while I was calculating how many delivery runs I'd need to make rent. I envied them, but I kept grinding, thinking that's just how it was. Then I started noticing Caleb's social media. His Instagram was a highlight reel of London's nightlife, fancy clubs, studio sessions with big-name producers, new sneakers every week. One post hit me hard: Caleb in a sleek leather jacket tagged #Gucci gift, with a caption, "Thanks, Mom, you always come through." #London vibes. I stared at it, wondering how my parents could afford Gucci while I was eating day-old bread. It didn't add up. One night, my friend Mia texted me. "You free to hang out this weekend?" I replied, "Nah, working doubles. Heading home for Thanksgiving, though." She responded, "Dude, you're always exhausted in class. You sure you're okay?" I brushed it off, "I'm fine, just gotta pay the bills." But I wasn't fine. That Friday, during a hectic delivery shift, I blacked out. 1 minute I'm biking with a bag of burritos, the next I'm waking up in a hospital bed, and 4 in my arm. The doctor said it was dehydration and overexertion. I'd been pushing too hard, eating too little. My boss called, worried, and said he'd notified my parents. "Take a week off, Ethan," he said. "We overworked you." That meant no pay for a week, and I panicked. Mia came over the next day, bringing a homemade stir-fry. Over dinner, I vented about my finances. She was shocked. "Your dad's a tech guy, right? How are you this broke?" I explained Mom's excuse about tight finances. Mia frowned. "But your brother's in London, living large. How's he affording that?" I didn't have an answer. For the first time, I wondered if something was off. I remembered a fight I overheard when I was 14. Dad asked Mom why I couldn't go to a coding bootcamp while Caleb got sent to a music festival in Europe. Mom said Caleb's talent needed nurturing and that I'd be fine with online tutorials. Dad grumbled but let it go. Desperate for answers, I called Caleb. "Hey, how's London?" I asked, keeping it light. "It's awesome," he said. "Mom just sent me $2,500 for some new studio gear." My heart sank. $2,500? How often does she send you money? He laughed. "Like $2,000 a month, plus extra for cool stuff. She says it's for my career." I hung up, stunned. Mom told me there was no money, but Caleb was getting thousands. Thanksgiving rolled around, and I took a cheap bus home to Atlanta. Dad greeted me with a big hug, but his smile faded when he saw me. "Ethan, you look drained. You okay?" Mom just stared, silent. At dinner, grilled salmon, roasted veggies, the works, Dad asked, is the $1,500 I've been sending enough for you? I nearly dropped my fork. Dad, I haven't gotten any money. His face went white. What? I've been giving your mom $1,500 a month for you since you moved. I shook my head. Mom said you couldn't afford to send me anything. Dad turned to Mom, his voice sharp. Lydia, have you been sending Ethan his money? Mom looked away, her hands trembling. Lydia, answer me, Dad pressed. Finally, she whispered, I haven't sent him anything. Dad's jaw dropped. What? Why not? Mom's voice was barely audible. Caleb needed it more. London's expensive, and he's building his music career. I felt like I'd been slapped. Caleb needed it. Mom, I collapsed at work. I'm barely eating. Dad's voice rose. Collapsed? When did this happen? I explained the hospital visit, how I'd been overworking to survive. Dad looked furious. Lydia, you let Ethan starve while sending Caleb thousands? Mom tried to justify it. Caleb's in a competitive industry. He needs to network, look the part. Dad cut her off. And Ethan doesn't? He's studying computer science, working 3 jobs, and you're letting him fall apart. Mom's eyes filled with tears, but she doubled down. Caleb's special. He's sensitive. Ethan's tough, he'll manage. Dad slammed his hand on the table. Manage? He's in the hospital. And what's Caleb buying? Gucci jackets? Studio gear? I added quietly, he said you sent him $2,500 last week. Mom flinched. How do you know that? Dad's voice was ice cold. How much have you been giving Caleb? Mom hesitated. $2,000 a month, sometimes $3,000 for special things. Dad's face was ashen. So, $5,000 some months for Caleb, while Ethan gets nothing? Mom tried to defend herself. It's not like that. Caleb's building a brand. Dad wasn't having it. A brand? He's 22, living like a rock star on our money, while Ethan's starving. This ends now. He turned to me. Ethan, I'm so sorry. I thought you were getting your allowance. From now on, I'll handle the money. The rest of dinner was silent, the air thick with tension. Mom wiped her eyes, acting like the victim, while Dad's anger simmered. Later, in my old room, I overheard them arguing. Mom accused Dad of overreacting, Dad accused her of betraying me. I lay there, piecing together years of favoritism. Caleb's new guitar for his 16th birthday while I got a used laptop. The summer I wanted to attend a tech conference, but Mom said it was too expensive, only for Caleb to go to a music camp in Berlin. It all clicked. Dad came to my room that night, looking exhausted. I failed you, Ethan, he said. I trusted your mom to be fair, and I was too caught up in work to notice. I've called Caleb. His allowance is cut to $800 a month, same as yours starting now. I nodded, still processing. There's more, Dad said. Your mom's been moving money from our joint savings to a separate account for Caleb's future. About $200,000. My jaw dropped. What? Dad sighed. I've frozen that account. It'll go back to our family fund, split evenly between you and Caleb when you're 25. Caleb called me later, livid. Why'd you snitch to Dad? I can't live on $800 in London. I snapped back, try living on $0 in Seattle while working 50 hours a week. I passed out, Caleb. He went quiet. I didn't know it was that bad. Would you have cared? I asked. He didn't answer, just hung up. The next morning, Mom barely spoke, moving like a shadow. Dad was all business. I'm taking over the finances, he told me. And your mom and I, we're having issues. This favoritism, it's been going on too long. Mom protested, Caleb needs support. He's not like Ethan. Dad shut her down. Caleb needs to grow up. And so do you. He turned to me. Focus on school, Ethan. I've got your back. I took the bus back to Seattle, my mind reeling. Dad sent $4,000 to cover the missed allowances, and for the first time in months, I bought real groceries, chicken, rice, fresh apples. I cut my delivery shifts to weekends only and quit tutoring, keeping just the freelance coding gigs I loved. My grades started climbing, and I joined the coding club, even winning a small hackathon. Over the next year, my family shifted. Dad moved into a condo, unable to forgive Mom's lies. Caleb, after throwing a fit about his budget cut, got a job at a London music studio. It's actually pretty cool, he admitted during a call. I'm learning how to produce for real clients. Mom struggled, fighting the financial restrictions and sneaking Caleb extra cash until Dad caught her. That was the breaking point. He filed for divorce. The court didn't take kindly to Mom's secret accounts, and Dad got most of the assets. I focused on school, my health, and my friendships. Mia and I started a study group, and I finally had time to hang out. Caleb and I began texting more, slowly rebuilding our relationship. He apologized one night. I didn't see how Mom's favoritism screwed you over. I just took the money. I forgave him. We were kids, caught in her mess. 3 years later, I'm in my final year of college, interning at a tech startup and prepping for grad school. Dad's dating a graphic designer, Lena, who's brought light back into his life. He visits Seattle often, and we bond over code and coffee. Caleb's thriving in London, producing tracks for local artists and saving for his own studio. His latest Instagram post was him in a thrift store jacket, captioned, "Vintage vibes, no Gucci needed." Mom's had the toughest road. She moved to a small apartment and works full-time at a retail store. Last month, she called me, emotional. "I messed up, Ethan. I see that now." She's in therapy, working through her past. Our talks are still awkward, but we're trying. This Christmas, we're all meeting at Dad's, me, Caleb, Dad, Lena, and even Mom. It'll be messy, but it'll be real. That collapse 3 years ago broke my body but saved my family. Sometimes, you have to hit rock bottom to rebuild something better.